Hey guys, it's Gabby, and today I'm going to be taking you through my fall 2016 reading wrap-up. So I have not posted a wrap-up on this channel since August, and because of that I have 3-4 months worth of reads that I need to discuss in one video, which is over 15 books. And so what I'm going to be doing in this video is an unconventional style wrap-up where I'm going to list off all the reads for a particular month and only discuss the ones that I enjoyed the most, or were the most intriguing, the ones that I believe deserve the most praise and acknowledgement on my channel, and then I'll move on to the next month, basically to prevent myself from discussing books that I don't really have a lot of thoughts and opinions on, so that this video isn't excruciatingly long. So if you do want to find out more about a particular book that I mentioned in this video, I will leave all the Goodreads pages down below to every single book that I mention in this video, regardless of whether I discuss it or not, so that you can find out more about a particular book. And I will also leave my social media down below if you want to ask me any questions there, or you can leave questions down below in the comment section for this video. So there will be several ways for you to find out more about a particular book if you're interested in reading it. But that being said, I have plenty of books that I need to discuss in this video, so I'm going to get right into the wrap-up. So in September, I read 4 books, those being Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, John Tiffany, and Jack Thorne. I listened to the audiobook of Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda and written by Benjamin Sinez. I'm probably butchering that last name and I apologize, but moving on. The next book that I read was The Marked Girl by Lindsay Klingel. And finally, I read The Arc of Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this is a book that I really want to discuss for September. I've absolutely fallen in love with the Illuminae Files series over 2016, and it's probably become one of my favorite series that I've picked up this year because it's so different and just such on a different level than any other series in the YA genre, because it's written in a mixed media format. So you have emails and IM messages and security footage and fun text composition that tells the story, as well as web pages and other things. And that can be something that's really complicated to do and also make your story and plot really unique and not have it get washed out by this mixed media. And Amy and Jay do such a fantastic job at telling the story and making it unique and interesting. And like I said, I read the arc for this book. So I was reading it uncompleted, and pretty much the only major part of this book was the story and the plot. A lot of the illustrations, which were done by Maria Liu, were missing in this arc. So when I picked up the physical copy and I looked through all the illustrations, it just added 10 times more to the story, although it definitely proved to me that I can enjoy this book without the mixed media format, because there was barely any of that in here, and so the plot itself is definitely very much intriguing. If you do not know what this story is about, although it's been very hyped and very praised on BookTube over this past year, which is definitely worth it because this story deserves all the hype that it gets, it's absolutely amazing. But if you don't know what it's about, it is a sci-fi story told in mixed media in which we follow a whole bunch of people that have been brought up into space after Earth was attacked. And so now they're living on all of these different ships, and a company called Bitech wants to attack them and eliminate them all. And they're the ones that attacked Earth, so now they're coming at them from space. And so we're seeing lots of violence, lots of murder, lots of gore, lots of intensity, plot twists, humor, and fun action-packed story, as well as really unique and interesting characters. And personally, I think the second book is better than the first. I think the characters are more unique, more interesting, as we follow a different set of characters than in the first book, although the first characters in the first book are present in the second book just very briefly towards the end. And I love this world so much. I think it's so unique, so interesting, and so worth the read. So if you have not picked up the Illuminae Files series yet, pick up Illuminae and then Gemina. Read this series in 2017. I'm so excited for the third book to come out and to see how this series wraps up. And it's probably one of my most anticipated releases of 2017 because of how much I've fallen in love with these first 2 books. Moving on to October, I read 7 books, those being Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland, The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron, Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum, The Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas, and finally, All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. So I had a really great month of reads in October, and definitely a lot better month than September, and I think Gemina is what helped that because it was such an amazing story. So I want to discuss each of these books very briefly because I think that they all deserve acknowledgement on my channel. So Crooked Kingdom was the first book that I completed in October, and I absolutely love this book so much. It is the second book in the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo, and the story is an action-packed heist that follows all these different characters that team up, and this is the continuation continuation of what happens in that first book after this big major heist takes place. This story concludes so nicely. I got to meet Lee and I got to see her on the release day for this book, and that was just such an amazing thing I was able to do in 2016. I loved getting to meet her. She's so sweet and so amazing, and I have a vlog for that, which I'll leave linked down below if you want to watch that. It was just such an amazing experience. I'm so thankful for her that, and it made reading this book such a more amazing experience because I got to hear her discuss it, and I got to have a little bit more of an idea of what I was going to expect with this book. I love it so much, and if you haven't not picked up this duology yet, I definitely recommend it. It's just so fantastic, so much impact, and so much fun. Empire of Storms I reviewed on my channel, so if you want to find out my in-depth spoiler thoughts for this book, they'll be linked down below. Personally, this was my least favorite book of the year. I felt disconnected from it, and I would have liked to see more from it, but if you do want to hear more of my thoughts, the review will be linked down below, and hopefully the final book in this series will be better once it comes out. So as for the rest of the books that I read in October, I got to meet all of these authors and get all these books signed, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, in October, all the books that I read this year were from authors that I met this year at some point in time, which is really cool and really crazy to think about. But all these authors I met at one big massive signing that I will be discussing in my signed 2016 book haul. So that video will be coming sometime soon if you want to see that. It's probably the next video that I'm going to be uploading, so stay tuned for that. But Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland, I was like about 20 pages in when I picked this book up and when I was meeting her, and I love this book so much. Basically, it's a very unconventional romance. We follow two characters that meet, and their names are Henry and Grace is not Henry's typical idea of somebody he'd like to fall in love with. She walks with a cane and she wears guys' clothes, and I think that's enough said about this book. It follows their romance, and it's absolutely amazing, and I think it tells a really great story about falling in love and how there's difficulties to it, and how it's not something that should always be fantasized and made to be a lot more than it actually is. The Forgetting is another book that you may have seen around BookTube. I'm really glad I got to meet Sharon when I picked this book up. I had not read it yet, as I really hadn't read any of the books that I picked up from any of the authors that I met at the signing, but I really enjoyed this book. I heard a lot about it through BookTube, and I figured that I wanted to pick it up. We follow our main character who lives in a society where every 7 or 12 years, I forgot what it is, but they forget everything that has ever happened in their life, and they are completely clueless. So they have these journals that they write in, and our main character is someone who has not forgotten, and she thinks that she's the only one. So this whole story follows her journey into figuring out why it is that her society forgets, and to kind of solve that mystery and figure out if there's a solution to stop that from happening so that all of her people in her society can remember again. Really unique, really fun, really interesting story, and I think that the synopsis for this book was intriguing enough to get me to pick it up, and I think it's worth a read. Super fun story, and I really enjoyed it. Tell Me Three Things is the next book that I read in October. I absolutely love this book. Really cute, really sweet contemporary. We follow our main character who has just moved to LA and feels like a little bit of an outsider at her new high school, and so she ends up meeting this person through an email message that identifies himself as somebody nobody, and so he basically volunteers to walk her through the school and introduce her to this new ritzy life that she's going to be living, and so they develop this relationship, and this whole story is a little bit of a contemporary mystery of figuring out who is somebody nobody, and it's super cute, and I absolutely loved this book, and I really hope that all of you guys pick it up. It's worth a read, and I loved getting to meet Julie. Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas was my Halloween read for October, and all I'm going to say that the last 70 pages of this book made me sick with how intense this book was, and if you want to find out a synopsis, I think that you can go for that. Like I said, a Goodreads page will be down below, but I think it's best to walk into the story not knowing anything at all so that you can just be totally surprised and totally freaked out by this book. It was really freaking intense, and it's a perfect Halloween read or spooky read if you're looking for that. Lots of fun, fast-paced, and totally a perfect 10 out of 10 Halloween read. And finally, All the Bright Places. This is a book that a lot of you may know about. It's being adapted into a movie. Jennifer Niven is writing the screenplay, and Elle Fanning is starring as Violet, one of our main characters. This story was a super cute contemporary, and I definitely think it's worth a read if you're looking to something like that. I'm really excited for the movie to come out and to see who gets casted as Finch and just get to see more of this world developed and getting to see it on screen. I think it's going to be a really great movie adaptation, and I'm excited to see more from this world and get more news on the casting process. Finally, getting to our November wrap-up, the first book that I read in November is Alexander Hamilton's Guide to Life by Jeff Wilsner. I do not have a copy of this book because I lent it to my grandma, but I reviewed this book on my channel already, so if you want to see that, it'll be linked down below. As for the other books that I read in November, they are Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven, Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. So, The Sun is Also a Star. This is the main book that I want to discuss. I love this book so much. I have fallen in love with Nicola Yoon's writing style over these past year. I read everything, absolutely loved it, and I was so excited for this book to come out so I could pick it up because I'd been hearing nothing but praise for it since a lot of people got ARCs of this book at BEA and BookCon, and I just am so glad I got to pick this book up this year, and I really hope that I get to meet Nicola maybe sometime next year. I have fallen in love with her books. I think she's such a fantastic and unique writer, and I really hope that I can discuss this book more with you guys in a review or something because I love this book so much, and I could go on about it for hours. I thought it was so unique, so inspiring, and I absolutely loved it so much. And it's just such a beautiful, 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 inspiring read that deals with hope and love and faith and deciding what you believe in, and it's just such an inspiring, beautiful story, and I cannot say enough great things about this book. I loved it so much. So as for Alice in Wonderland, I have never read the original story, Alice in Wonderland, although I love this world so much and it's probably one of my favorite Disney movies ever. I think it's so fun and whimsical and just completely out there compared to a lot of other Disney princess type movies, and I thought this was just so unique. I loved getting to read the original story, getting to see some of the original things, a lot of things that may have been cut or taken out of the Disney movie, and then seeing them referenced in Heartless, which was the next book that I picked up in December, the first book that I picked up in December right after finishing this. I am just so happy that I received this in the Owl Crate box because I probably would have never read this book if I had not received it, and it was just such a perfect addition to the box, and I loved getting to read the original story, getting to catch all those references in Heartless, and being able to finally say that I'd read the original Alice in Wonderland. So thank you so much, Owl Crate, for including this in your box. I had an amazing time reading it, and I'm glad that I finally was able to pick up a classic story from a movie that I know and love from Disney. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had an amazing 2016. And just a quick FYI, I'm going to be doing a live show on my channel to recap 2016, discuss all of my anticipated releases for 2017. It's taking place on Friday, December 30th at 8 Eastern. Come and chill out with me and hang out. It'll all be taking place on this channel. But that's pretty much it for this video. I'm carrying like a shit ton load of books. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!